Socrates, the 5th century BC Athenian philosopher, left a lasting legacy through his wise words and penetrating philosophy. His timeless wisdom transcends the ages, illuminating minds and inspiring deep reflection. Socrates' quotes echo like beacons of wisdom, guides to a deeper understanding of life and the human condition. The only true knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. This humble statement reflects the essence of Socrates' philosophy, highlighting the importance of intellectual humility in the eternal process of learning. An unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates challenges each individual to reflect on their own actions, beliefs, and purpose, encouraging a constant search for truth and authenticity. True wisdom lies in recognizing one's ignorance. This vision highlights the importance of intellectual humility and recognition of our limitations, encouraging a continuous search for knowledge and understanding. The greatest wealth is the wealth of the soul. Socrates valued virtues and inner wisdom more than material riches, inspiring others to seek deeper and more lasting wealth. It's not enough to have a good mind, the main thing is to apply it. Socrates emphasizes the importance of action, inviting people to apply their knowledge for the common good and self-development. Know thyself. This famous Socratic motto is a call to self-reflection, encouraging each individual to deeply explore their own nature, values, and purpose in life. Virtue does not come from money, but from merit. Socrates challenges the conventional conception of success, highlighting that true virtue derives from character and moral excellence. It is better to suffer an injustice than to commit it. This perspective challenges personal ethics and highlights the importance of acting with integrity, even in the face of adversity. It's not what happens to us, but how we respond that defines our character. Socrates emphasizes the importance of resilience and consciously choosing how we react to life's circumstances. These Socrates quotes are not just ancient words, but they transcend time, continuing to inspire generations to seek truth, wisdom, and moral excellence in their lives. Socrates' philosophical legacy remains an eternal beacon, guiding those who seek to understand the deeper meaning of human existence. Socrates' instructions revealing his timeless wisdom. Quotes by Socrates. Falling is not a failure. Failure is when you stay where you have fallen. Socrates. To find yourself, think for yourself. Socrates. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. Socrates. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Socrates. An unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. Socrates. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. Socrates. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Socrates. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. Socrates. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Socrates. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. Socrates. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Socrates. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Socrates. Envy is the ulcer of the soul. Socrates. Do not do to others what angers you have done to you by others. Socrates. If a man is proud of his wealth, he should not be praised until it is known how he employs it. Socrates. Remember that there is nothing stable in human affairs. Therefore, avoid undue elation in prosperity or undue depression in adversity. Socrates. Remember that what is unbecoming to do is also unbecoming to speak. Socrates. I wish that ordinary people had an unlimited capacity for doing harm. Then they might have an unlimited power for doing good. Socrates. Quote by Socrates. The shortest and surest way to live with honor in the world is to be in reality what we appear to be, and if we observe, we shall find that all human virtues increase and strengthen themselves by the practice of them. Socrates. Do not consider painful what is good for you. Socrates. Some have courage in pleasures and some in pains, some in desires and some in fears, and some are cowards in the same conditions. Socrates. I have lived long enough to learn how much I can live without. Socrates. Quotes by Socrates. I decided that it was not wisdom that enabled poets to write their poetry, but a kind of instinct or inspiration, such as you find in seers and prophets who deliver all their sublime messages without knowing in the least what they mean. Socrates. A system of morality which is based on relative emotional values is a mere illusion, a thoroughly vulgar conception which has nothing sound in it and nothing true. Socrates. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Socrates. Once made equal to man, woman becomes his superior. Socrates. Only the extremely ignorant or the extremely intelligent can resist change. Socrates. The easiest and noblest way is not to crush others, but to improve oneself. Socrates. The way to gain a good reputation is to endeavor to be what you desire to appear. Socrates. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought which they seldom use. Socrates. Wisdom begins in wonder. Socrates. Do not flatter your friends with mere compliments, but rather give them sensible tokens of your love. Socrates. Quotes by Socrates. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Socrates. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our ways, I to die, and you to live. Which is better, God only knows. Socrates. The hottest love has the coldest end. Socrates. Nature has given us 2 ears, 2 eyes, and but 1 tongue to the end that we should hear and see more than we speak. Socrates. Our prayers should be for blessings in general, for God knows best what is good for us. Socrates. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall gain easily what others have labored hard for. Socrates. Out of the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate. Socrates. The envious man grows lean at the success of his neighbor. Socrates. Contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. Socrates. Do not call any man unhappy until he is married. Socrates. Socrates saying. Let him who would move the world first move himself. Socrates. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. Socrates. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Socrates. I sought not during my life to accumulate riches and adorn my body, but to adorn my soul with the jewels of wisdom, patience, and, above all, love for freedom. Socrates. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Socrates. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Socrates. Not life, but good life, is to be chiefly valued. Socrates. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Socrates. The perfect human being is all human beings together. It is a collective of humanity that makes perfection. Socrates. Remember, no human condition is permanent. So do not be too happy with good fortune or too distressed with adversity. Socrates. Humanity is made up of 2 kinds of people: wise people who know they are fools, and fools who think they are wise. Socrates. If I save my eyes, I am not paying attention to the weakness of sight. Socrates. Timeless insights from Socrates. In childhood be modest, in youth temperate, in adulthood just, and in old age prudent. Socrates. You never know that a line is crooked unless you have a straight line to compare it to. Socrates. Beauty comes first. Victory is secondary. What matters is joy. Socrates. Sometimes you erect walls not to keep people away, but to see who cares enough to tear them down. Socrates. The secret of happiness, you see, is not in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Socrates. Do not do to others what angers you if done by others. Socrates. Every action has its pleasures and its price. Socrates. Prefer knowledge to wealth, for one is transitory, the other perpetual. Socrates. Ordinary people seem not to realize that those who really apply themselves in the right way to philosophy are directly and of their own accord preparing themselves for dying and death. Socrates. Whether a man is burdened by riches or poverty, it takes the same effort to act his part. Socrates. Beautiful quotes by Socrates. I was indeed too honest a man to be a politician and live. Socrates. He is a man of courage who does not run away, but remains at his post and fights against the enemy. Socrates. Beauty is a short-lived tyranny. Socrates. The souls of all men are immortal, but the souls of the righteous are immortal and divine. Socrates. An honest man is always a child. Socrates. Nothing is so well learned as that which is discovered. Socrates. True perfection is a bold quest. Only the willing and true of heart will seek improvement from many. Socrates. Be kinder than necessary to everyone you meet. Everyone is fighting some kind of battle. Socrates. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people learn from their experiences. Stupid people already have all the answers. Socrates. Best quotes by Socrates. I consider myself a peaceful warrior because the battles we fight are internal. Socrates. A man's worth is measured by the number of those who stand by his side, not those who follow him. Socrates. There are two kinds of diseases of the soul, vice and ignorance. Socrates. Be the kind of person you wish people would think you are. Socrates. Wise men speak when they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. Socrates. It is better to suffer evil than to do evil. Socrates. He who would change the world should first change himself. Socrates. The mind is the pilot of the soul. Socrates. And now, you, depart for your lives, and I for death, and which of us goes to a better thing is known to no one but God. Socrates. The human nature will find it hard to find a better helper than Eros. Socrates. Powerful quotes by Socrates. Beauty is the bait that with delight allures man to enlarge his kind. Socrates. The awareness of ignorance is the beginning of wisdom. Socrates. The nearest way to glory is to strive to be what you wish to be considered. Socrates. How many things a man can do without. Socrates. The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. Socrates. Poets are the interpreters of the gods. Socrates. It is not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves, that will make them successful human beings. Socrates. The greater the power that is dignified to serve you, the more honor it demands from you. Socrates. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Socrates. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Socrates. Inspirational quotes by Socrates. The beginning is the most important part, especially when it is a young and tender thing. Socrates. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. Socrates. The leader leads so that those who are led can develop their potential as human beings and thus prosper. Socrates. Knowledge under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Socrates. If you want to be wrong, follow the masses. Socrates. Know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom. Socrates. Why should we pay so much attention to what the majority thinks? Socrates. When you desire wisdom and insight as much as you desire to breathe, only then will you have them. Socrates. Only knowledge that comes from within is true knowledge. Socrates. The first key to greatness is to be in reality what we appear to be. Socrates. Quotes by Socrates. True wisdom lies in acknowledging the limits of knowledge. Socrates. To understand a question is half the answer. Socrates. Never retaliate when you're angry, for you will make mistakes. Socrates. The greatest blessing granted to humanity came through madness, which is a divine gift. Socrates. Those who are hardest to love are the ones who need it the most. Socrates. I love to go and see all the things without which I am happy. Socrates. The soul, like the body, accepts by practice any habit to which it is introduced. Socrates.